That's a hard, you know, that's a hard list to follow. I'm actually, yeah, it's really hard to live up to that. So I'm not going to really try, but I did want to say a few things. One was I want to thank you for this award because it really does mean a lot to me. Mark Miles was actually my friend, is one of the people in this room that I knew him fairly well. I first met him when he joined the Technical Committee on Hydraulics and Hydrology, and he always worked tirelessly in the group. Sometimes we'd have a problem that needed to be dealt with, and he would take it overnight and work on it, I don't know how long, and come back with a proposal of solutions. He also was very willing to share his expertise and solutions and things that they were doing in Alaska DOT. So he was just really a fabulous engineer and a great friend. I'm really honored to accept the award and be thought of as having the same love of hydraulics and commitment to advancing hydraulics and hydrology that Mark exemplified. One thing I was going to share a little bit, because you heard my whole my career background, but I wanted to share a little bit of my earlier history. As a child, I spent my summers in Lake Michigan, where there was a creek to the north of our cottage, and there was a creek to the south. And we would always go down there and dam up those creeks and then reroute them. A lot of times I didn't like them going straight. I always want to make them curve around a little bit. And that's where I first learned a lot of my lessons in hydraulics, including that the last part of the dam, when you're trying to get that closure, was always the hardest because the stream would start speeding up as it got into a smaller and smaller area and would try to wash away the locally sourced materials of rocks, driftwood, and sand. I also was watching sandbanks and how they eroded on the streams and noticing that these were eroding on the outsides of the curves. So I've been playing with water for a really long time, since I was 7 years old. As a matter of fact, my husband and I went to this cottage, and he is a hydraulic engineer with the Corps of Engineers. And he also loved playing in the streams. So as adults, we were testing groin designs on these streams. Well, what if we do this? Let's check the angles. Well, our kids got bored and went to build sandcastles and go swimming. Another issue that I learned about as a child on Lake Michigan was shoreline stabilization. When the lake was high, the bank erosion was pretty bad. As a matter of fact, I even had a friend whose cottage actually fell into the lake because it got undermined and, just basically fell in. So I watched as different people tried to stabilize those banks. So one of the things they tried was to tie old tires together. And that really didn't work, and it really just resulted in old tires showing up, floating around, and in places all the time. So not a good solution. The next thing that people started doing was making retaining walls, which maybe protected their property. But even as a child, I'd noticed that meant that the properties where the retaining walls ended just got eroded away even faster. And so it didn't seem like a very neighborly thing to do. But one of the things my grandfather's passion was planting trees. So he actually went to stabilize the bank. He was planting trees and beach grass to help use vegetation to stabilize the bank. And I kind of wonder if he was a pioneer in green infrastructure back in the early 1960s. So imagine my surprise and delight when I found out that civil engineering actually had an option that emphasized hydraulics. And you could actually get paid to compute water depths, route water, and stop erosion and scour. Over the last 36 years of my career, I've enjoyed learning so much at these National Hydraulic Engineers Conferences and being able to participate in AASHTO Technical Committee on Hydraulics, and also participating as panel members in national and state research projects. You just get so much out of being involved in those types of activities. I want to encourage all of you to be involved in research projects, AASHTO activities, TRB, and national and state efforts to contribute to the understanding and advancement of hydrology and hydraulics. And it's a really exciting time to be involved in hydrology right now. The rationale equations we've been using for a really long time, aren't those about like 100 years old or something? And then NRCS, they've been around for a while too, but they're all based on non-stationarity. And now, there's going to be some big changes in hydrology coming up. So it's going to be really exciting to be able to be in on the ground floor of figuring out how to make our infrastructure more resilient. So, there's always more things to learn and improve on. And after 36 years in the field, I have 3 pieces of advice. Number 1, find your passion. Number 2, get involved. And number 3, you spend too much of your time at work not to do something that you love. So have fun, and thanks for honoring me with this award.